Good evening, this is Tacks and Zakka. Jacob, the debate around Veer Savarkar is getting intense after a poster of Savarkar was pulled down earlier this week in Shivamogga. Today, a poster with Savarkar and Godse was put up in Mangalore again. Amidst a lot of confusion, it had to be pulled down. Why do a section of opposition parties led by the Congress, as well as some left historians, have a problem with Savarkar? Is his history and legacy just as checkered as that of other freedom fighters? Also today, Congress leader Siddaramaiah was shown black flags in Coorg. In fact, he was called by the moniker Sidhu Khan after he eulogized Tipu Sultan, who, by the way, is also an equally controversial figure, particularly in Kodagu, which Siddaramaiah was visiting today. Tipu Sultan, of course, known for the massacre of Kodavas as well as the massacre of Hindus in Malabar. Has it become a Tipu versus Savarkar battle in Karnataka in the run-up to next year's assembly elections? And should historical figures be judged by the time and space that they operated in, not retrospectively from 21st century ideals?
There was high drama during former Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah's visit to flood-hit Kodagu. Protesters surrounded his car, raised slogans, showed black flags and shoved pictures of V.D. Savarkar in his face. The trigger for the anger was this comment made by Siddaramaiah 2 days ago. It all started when a banner featuring Savarkar was put up as part of an Independence Day celebration in Shivamogga. A group of Muslim youth objected, removed the banner and tried to install a Tipu Sultan banner at the same spot. This eventually resulted in a clash between both groups, and police ended up lathi-charging the mob to try and control the situation. After the incident, Savarkar posters have been popping up in different parts of Karnataka, some even featuring Nathuram Godse, Mahatma Gandhi's assassin. While the Congress has been questioning the emergence of these posters, the BJP has been defending Savarkar as a freedom fighter.
ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ತ್ಯಾಗ ಮಾಡಿ ತಮ್ಮ ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯ ತರುವಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಮುಖ ಪಾತ್ರ ವಹಿಸಿದ ವೀರ್ ಸಾವರ್ಕರ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಕಾರ್ಯಕರ್ತರು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಫ್ಲೆಕ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಹಾಕಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಗೌರವ ಕೊಡುವಂತ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದರು. ಆದರೆ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಕಿಡಿಗೇಡಿಗಳು ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ನ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಪುಂಡ ನಾಯಕರು ಅದನ್ನು ತೆರವುಗೊಳಿಸಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಮನವಿಯನ್ನು ಕೆಲವು ಇಲಾಖೆಗೆ ಸಲ್ಲಿಸಿದರು.
Vinayak Damodar Savarkar has been one of the most debated figures in Indian history. But as the war of ideology speaks, is it belief or bigotry that is driving the anger over Savarkar?
All right, on the talking point this evening, Nagaraj Yadav is Karnataka Congress spokesperson. Uday Mahurkar is Central Information Commissioner and author of Veer Savarkar. Rashid Kidwai is senior journalist and author. We'll also be joined by the BJP's Member of Parliament, Rakesh Sinha. Let me start with Uday Mahurkar. What is often cited, Mr. Mahurkar, by the Congress and by some left historians is that Veer Savarkar wrote at least 3 mercy pleas and pleas for pardon to the British while he was in the cellular jail in Kalapani in the Andamans. My question is, how would you counter this or how would you respond to this? Because this is the often cited argument by historians as well as opposition parties as to why they have a particular problem with Savarkar.
You see, Savarkar's actions cannot be weighed with the tools of Mahatma Gandhi. He was a follower of Chhatrapati Shivaji. He has to be, his actions have to be evaluated in the backdrop of his beliefs. Now, you see, he had tendered 10 apologies, not less, 10, all put together. And he has not hidden this. He has mentioned it in his book, Transportation for Life. He has mentioned this in another Marathi book called From the Darkness of Andaman. From the Darkness of Andaman, in that book he has explained as to how he used to tell his fellow prisoners, revolutionaries who were with him in the same jail, कि look here, there is no pointing, rotting here, let us come out with this stratagem and then restart the fight against Britishers. And there is, you have to look at it with corroborative evidence also. You see, in 1914, a senior British official wrote a letter to the jail authorities telling them that according to the rule, if those prisoners who have passed 5 years in rigorous imprisonment, they should be allowed to live outside, which is near the sea coast in Andaman. That time, in the same letter he writes, don't give this, don't use this, give this facility to Veer Savarkar, because Savarkar, I don't trust his mercy petitions. He has got revolutionary friends in Europe. His friends would bring a ship and hijack him from here. So Savarkar, you see, there is a Savarkar vilification campaign, because as my book says, that Savarkar is the father of India's national security, because he predicted all the problems India has faced on the national security front in the last 75 years.
Okay.
Therefore, his vision is such, if it spreads in the future generation, then all those who subsist on divisive India, on divisive politics, for them it will be difficult to survive.
Okay. Let me ask Mr. Rakesh Sinha, Member of Parliament, what is happening in Karnataka in the run-up to the elections next year is there seems to be a dangerous positing that is happening. On the one hand, you are seeing posters of Savarkar being pulled down. You saw one in Shivamogga earlier this week. You're seeing one in Mangalore today. And you have another section trying to put up Tipu Sultan instead. You heard what Siddaramaiah, the former Chief Minister, said. You know, why were they putting up Savarkar posters? Why didn't they put up Tipu Sultan posters? Now, for some people, Tipu Sultan, and yes, there are two recorded facts of history. One is he did fight the British. There were at least 3 Anglo-Mysore wars. And there is also the equally true fact that Tipu Sultan butchered the Kodavas in Coorg. He also butchered the Hindu Nayars in Malabar. He also butchered the Mangalorean Christians, the Catholics in coastal Karnataka. So both of these facts are true. But this positing of Savarkar versus Tipu, which is clearly being done for electoral purposes, for political purposes, that is dangerous.
It may be election time, but there are two opposed narratives which are emerging in our horizon of idea. One narrative is being led by ideology of Savarkar, other narrative being led by the ideology of Tipu Sultan. And we have to re-examine both the ideologies. You know, the first narrative, as far as Savarkar is concerned, the nationalism in India is defined in terms of historically that you consider the land as a motherland. So it is not merely that you are fighting the Britishers, it is also important that how much you consider yourself inalienable from the Indian land, Indian people, our history, our legacies. When you are departing from the legacy, you are departing from the history, you are departing from the collective consciousness of the people, and you are fighting the British for the particular cause, for the governance, that is not going to define you as the freedom fighter. While you are fighting the Britishers, you are also killing your own people. You are converting your own people. So conversion and killing of the people don't justify you as a freedom fighter, as a patriot. Freedom fighter, prerequisite for the freedom fighter is being a patriotic consciousness, and patriotic consciousness requires that you have a feeling of harmony and a feeling of fraternity. Without fraternity, you cannot lead the freedom movement. You know, there is a very important fact. India's freedom movement is Africa's freedom movement. In all other aspects, we are superior to them, but in one aspect, we are very inferior to Africa's freedom movement. African freedom movement had emphasized on cultural freedom, freedom of idea, linguistic autonomy. You see the freedom movement of any African countries. They fought against apartheid. They fought against the cultural hegemony of the Britishers. Here is the Congress since 1885 to 1947, they passed 323 resolution on minority question, but they had not passed a single resolution on the British domination on our culture, our language, our ideas. That is the reason
Professor
that
Sinha,
Savarkar becomes very important.
The larger question that's being asked is that Savarkar's ideals oftentimes did not sit with the Indian National Congress's ideas and ideals, and particularly Mahatma Gandhi's ideas and ideals of non-violence. That is the basic contention, and therefore the Congress party who are the inheritors of Gandhi and Nehru and so on, they are saying that Savarkar's ideas did not sit with the ideas that eventually got freedom for India.
Does it mean that 28 people who were martyred in 28 September 1942 in Odisha, they are out of the freedom movement because they didn't match with Mahatma Gandhi's ideas? Asti and Chimur in Maharashtra, 31 people killed in a single day. 7 children in Patna, Har Gobind, Ram Gobind, Ramanand Sinha, Umakant, Satish Jha, Jagatpati, these 7 children who were hoisting national flag at the Patna Secretariat and were killed and martyred, are they not the part of the freedom movement?
Okay.
And the Baji Raut, who led the movement in Orissa, 12-year-old Baji Raut, is not the part of the freedom movement. So Mahatma Gandhi had a very important role. His philosophy of non-violence was very important. But those who took the resort of the violence, they are equally great people. They fought for the motherland, and the use of the violence against the British regime cannot be demeaned.
Okay.
Cannot be devalued.
Let me ask
I think
Nagaraju
that was
Yadav.
immoral.
You know, the problem in judging someone like a Savarkar is you are retrofitting him into 21st century ideals by thinking that he operated in the 21st century. You have to look at the time and space and milieu in which he operated. As historian Vikram Sampath notes in his book, the process of writing petitions to the British was a normal process. It was extended to all political prisoners, not just Savarkar, and there were many prisoners, many of his fellow inmates, who had written to the British authorities seeking for remission and seeking for pardon. It was like hiring a lawyer to defend yourself in court. What do you say to that?
No, this is the argument made by one section of the persons. I agree with it. They have their own opinion to make. The idea of Congress, International Congress, is very, very clear that he is the most controversial person in Indian history. I hope everybody agrees with that. And there is a controversy on connected to the matter of Tipu Sultan also. Both are controversial issues, no doubt about it. Now, in pertaining to the Karnataka politics, when you're connecting and talking it, when a controversial person, who is connected in the Indian history, when Mahatma Gandhi was killed by Nathuram Godse, how many RSS people, including Savarkar, FIR was filed against him? Is it true or not? By whom? Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. 25,000 RSS people were arrested due to Mahatma Gandhi was killed. Such a controversial issue. Why are we bringing it here when we are thinking that India has to be a developed country?
Can I ask a simple question? I just want to ask a very simple question. You said, and I agree, you said that both Savarkar and Tipu Sultan are controversial figures. Yet, Congress party is not putting up Savarkar posters. They are happy putting up Tipu Sultan posters. You heard what Siddaramaiah said in Shivamogga the other day, saying, why didn't they put up Tipu Sultan posters?
No,
you just agreed that Tipu Sultan is also a controversial figure.
No, let me tell you. I just said that this is the controversy of two groups agreed. But what the best part of it, Tipu Sultan, on as you said that Anglo and Mysore war, where he has not surrendered himself, nor he has not written any apology letter to the Britishers as such. That is a controversial issue which can be debated later. The issue of Siddaramaiah, what Siddaramaiah was trying to talk to is when the area Shivamogga from Harsha, after Harsha's murder, Shivamogga is definitely a sensitive area. Why are they putting it in a sensitive area? These kind of controversial issues and bringing it to polarization of politics.
No, so
and why is they doing it when
polarization is one part of it. But some would say, sir, are we going to put up posters of freedom fighters depending on what area or what what majority religion is there in that locality?
I am not saying that. See, Savarkar is an Indian, Tipu Sultan is an Indian. Got my point? I am not contradicting that. The ideologies are totally different.
Okay.
And what International Congress ideology was inclusiveness, Mahatma Gandhi ideology is inclusiveness. But Muhammad Jinnah or Savarkar was ideology was divisive in nature because
Rakesh, in a quick response, after which I'll go to Rashid Kidwai after that.
Let me tell you one thing.
Yeah.
Let me tell you one thing.
You made a point. Let Rakesh Sinha respond to you, after which I'll go to Rashid Kidwai. Yes.
The Congress is falling in the trap of the PFI ideology. The way they are putting the poster of Tipu Sultan and parallel to Savarkar or superior to Savarkar, this shows that their whole idea of India is going to fall in the paradigm of the PFI. I have two important things here. When you are glorifying someone who had been responsible for the killing of your own people in Karnataka, converting the people, The people who are converting and killing, are you glorifying? What message you are going to give posterity? Savarkar has never been divisive. Savarkar has been inspiring the one generation to other generation despite the undiminished propaganda by the Congress leftist historians in the country. There are regions that Savarkar had impacted, or I can say that he is a father of the patriotic consciousness in India. He defined the 1857 war, the first war of independence. His book was proscribed. His publication was banned. How many people were involved in the publication? Right from Kama to Subhash Bose to Hardayal.
Okay.
This shows that
Rashid,
how the
Rashid
Savarkar
Kidwai,
played the role in creating
the issue is that all of our freedom fighters, Gandhi included by the way, were not perfect figures. They had their flaws. Gandhi did, Nehru did, and so did Savarkar. But the problem in the case of Savarkar is there is one sort of clique of people or one stream of thought, if you will, whether it's political parties or historians of a certain bent of mind, who have made him into some kind of a hate figure, a reviled figure, without giving him the same leeway and the same accommodation that they would give for the complexities of that time, that space and that milieu, which they are happy to extend to a Gandhi or a Nehru. That is a double standard.
Zakka, we can go on having this kind of discussion, academic discussion, but we must look at it why this is being rigged up now. Savarkar or Tipu Sultan, they are historical figures, and you rightly pointed out, complex figures. Human personality evolves. There are in every person's, every public figure's life, we can see, various phases and shades are there, and some people, of course, admire them, and some, raise questions. But here, it's absolutely blatantly political, because Karnataka is going to polls, because a certain narrative was being built, and the state, look at the state's responsibility. The state is responsible for ensuring law and order. If the state is not doing, that means it's either incompetent or it is hand in glove with, certain elements. So this is something that we need to discuss.
No, but Rashid,
rather than see,
and so the way it all began earlier this week was some people tried to put up a poster of Savarkar in a place called, one second, in a place called AA Circle in Shivamogga. This was on the occasion of Independence Day. They were putting up posters of all other freedom fighters. This group wanted to put up a poster of Savarkar as well. Some people took objection to that. They removed the poster. The reason it became political was the next day, former Karnataka Chief Minister and Congress leader Siddaramaiah was asked about it, and he's the one who brought in this whole Hindu-Muslim angle and said, why was Savarkar poster being put up in a Muslim area? Why didn't they put up a Tipu Sultan poster instead? So this positing of Savarkar versus Tipu was actually done by a Congress politician.
Zakka, assuming that what you're saying is factually correct, see, there is a scope. There is a scope for that's what I was saying. Some people admire Tipu and some people admire Savarkar. What is democracy all about? Why there is this kind of streak of violence? And that is where the role of state comes in. If there are two, and they were not even contemporaries, but if there are two set of people, they want to, on our Independence Day, the people want to, pay some kind of tribute to them. They should be allowed to do so. Why are we making it A versus B?
No, fair enough. Let me go back to Uday Mahurkar. Again, the question that's being raised is, so Monday it was this poster of Savarkar in Shivamogga. Today in Mangalore, there was a poster of Savarkar along with Godse. So what Congress and other opposition parties are asking is, are you going to go to the extent of putting up posters of the man who killed the father of the nation?
No. You see, this could be a conspiracy by people who want to defame Savarkar. And mind you one thing, Manohar Malkar wrote a book on Godse in 1978. He was by no means a Hindutva activist, the great writer Manohar Malkar. And he interviewed Digambar Badge, who had turned approver in the Gandhi murder case.
Yes.
Digambar told him that he had given the statement against Savarkar and others under pressure of the government. This is there on record. So, you see, and there is no comparison between Savarkar and Tipu Sultan. My question to people who are trying to hero worship Tipu Sultan is, why can't they put the poster of, say, Mahavir Chakra Brigadier Usman, who died fighting for India in the 1948 Kashmir war? Why can't they put up the poster of Ashfaqullah Khan? Why can't they put up the poster of Havaldar Hamid, Paravir Chakra. Why they want Tipu Sultan only?
Okay.
And this comparison between Veer Savarkar has, you see, they fear Veer Savarkar. Because if his ideology spreads, then they'll have to close their shops. So Veer Savarkar, there is no comparison. Veer Savarkar is the biggest symbol of India's unity and integrity, and there was space in Veer Savarkar's ideology for all those Muslims who want to remain in the mainstream.
Okay, Rashid
You go
wants
through my
to,
book,
Rashid
Veer
wants to
Savarkar, the
respond
man
to that.
who could have prevented partition.
Look, Zakka,
It
this
has
is a
given
problem.
many instances
Zakka, when we
which
say,
show
then
that Veer
there is
Savarkar,
Okay. I heard you, Udaji.
that Veer
Let Rashid.
Savarkar had enough
Zakka,
space
our friend is trying to
for
give-
people
bring
who are
it
truly
as if
patriotic.
Okay.
Godse was not responsible for killing of Mahatma Gandhi. So how far are we going? One, we defend Savarkar, and then we go on to Godse and say as if, you see, the Kapoor Commission of Inquiry and all those kind of things that was there, that was all
No right
irrelevant.
thinking person supports Godse.
So-
This is again a conspiracy on the part of people who want to defame Savarkar, who want to put spokes in the way of nationalism.
Rashid, is
Godse-
it also
Godse,
not a
the people worshipping the people worshipping Godse is very small.
Rashid, isn't
People
it
worshipping
also
Godse
a
is very
recorded
small.
historical fact that the trial of Mahatma Gandhi's assassination acquitted Savarkar? They were not able to prove
Absolutely.
that
I'm
he
not
was involved in the
questioning
conspiracy.
Savarkar. No. I'm not questioning Savarkar. I am talking about Godse coming in. So that is something that every Indian would feel disturbed about it. And that is a thing, that is a narrative that I'm talking about. Even about Godse, about
No, so that
Savarkar.
line is being
Sir,
very
see,
clearly drawn. That line is being very clearly drawn. I don't think even right-wing organizations are wanting to celebrate Godse or put up posters of Godse.
We have a member of parliament from BJP who openly supported him. Anyway, that's all in the past. What Zakka I'm saying is that even Mr. Savarkar, his writings are there. There are various phases are there. At one point of time, he made a case for Muslims not getting voting rights or not getting full citizenship. Now that is something which was was not the stand of Deen Dayal Upadhyay, who said it in Raipur in 1956 that Muslims who have stayed back, they are as much as Indian as any other citizen of the country.
Of course,
so
that's why I said, I mean, historical figures have to be judged by the time and milieu that they lived
Why
in.
are we debating this today? Because there is Karnataka election, because there is a bid to polarize it.
Okay,
We must admit all this thing.
Rakesh Sinha, I mean, aside of the bid to polarize and the view that was put forth by Rashid that all of this is now being brought to the fore because of the elections. Now please respond to that, because ultimately for the electors of any state or the electors of India in a general election, is it going to be decided basis of historical questions or two views on history or revisions of history, or is it going to be decided by bread and butter issues?
Unresolved questions of the histories are emerging. They have to emerge because such questions have been suppressed for a long by the hegemony of the Marxist and Nehruvian historians. I am telling you, if Savarkar's poster pasted on a wall, whether it is a time of election or not election, how does it make impact? If you are reacting reactionary way on Savarkar's poster, this shows that your patriotism is being contested. There are two very important points. When Savarkar fought for the country, he had love for the country. You can differ with the perspective. But how can you say that he is not a freedom fighter? How can you say that the Muslim area should not have the Savarkar's poster? Tipu Sultan, on the other hand, killed 4,000 Christians, died, Catholics. He forced them to walk to Mysore. He captured them in Bangalore. Such a brutality and cruelty of a person, you are glorifying as a patriotic figure. This shows the bankruptcy of the Congress. This shows the Congress is following the highest stage of appeasement. It's going to the extent of supporting a villain who is responsible for the killing and the conversion. Therefore, I consider that it is a bad time for the Congress when it has become ideologically bankrupt now.
Nagaraju Yadav, the whole idea of Tipu Jayanti was started when Mr. Siddaramaiah was in power. Why is there a need to celebrate someone who has such a contested legacy? Where, like I said, today in Kodagu, and this is a historical fact, it's a recorded fact that tens of thousands of Kodavas were killed when Tipu Sultan was the ruler of Mysore.
Okay. Now let me have my own time. Now when the panelist was telling me the Congress is getting into trap of PFI, we are not at all getting into the trap of PFI, or we don't believe in appeasement politics. Basically, they should understand this. And if this is the case true, if BJP people are thinking that the Congress is doing all these things, who is stopping them to ban STPI and PFI when they promised in Karnataka election saying that we come to power, we will definitely ban them, and Siddaramaiah was in power. This is what BJP was agenda every day to talk on the streets. But what have they done for 3.5 years? They could do nothing. They have not taken any step regarding that. That is secondary issue. Tipu Sultan, one part they were saying conversion, killing and other things. Basically, is that what happened to Sringeri Mutt? When Sringeri Mutt was attacked by the Marathas and other people, who protected that? Who gave back the entire legacy of Sringeri Mutt? What happened to Srirangapatna? Srirangapatna was ruled by Tipu Sultan. Why there is no much Muslims there? Still there, why are the Hindus are there? If the conversion would happen, entire Srirangapatna should have been Muslims. This history, nobody accepts this history. This is completely political, and they want to polarize the entire issue.
One second. I think Nagaraju Yadav has raised a point about, there's also recorded historical facts about Tipu Sultan contributing to the building of temples, including the protection of the Sringeri Mutt, as it were.
I will explain to you. I have read this chapter. I have many books on this. I will tell you what happened.
Let me complete.
You see, Tipu Sultan was a fanatic of the first order, as fanatic as Aurangzeb, maybe more, because he should dishonor Hindu women. But around 1990, when Marathas,
on frame, thank you. Yes, go on.
Yeah, in 1990, when Marathas, Britishers, and even Nizam joined hands against Tipu Sultan, he suddenly felt the need for the support of Hindu population. Therefore, yes, he did it, but it was under pressure.
Okay.
He was not a genuine convert like Akbar.
Okay.
You see, he did it under, yes, that is a fact. In the second phase, Tipu Sultan was good to the Hindus in many ways, but that was under pressure because he suddenly realized that my atrocity which I have committed, if the people also turn against me, then I have a very difficult situation against this coalition of Marathas, Britishers and Nizam.
Okay.
So it was run under pressure.
Mr. Yadav, respond to that.
Unlike Akbar.
No, this is not correct what he's saying. That is not an opportunist type of politics. What has been those days, what happened. Today, actual politics, what is happening is polarization of politics. They know very well. Controversial person Savarkar issue has been questioned by Congress because he has written 10 apology letters. They are giving a different color to it. That is the reason no freedom fighter today has surrendered to the Britishers.
No, Mr. Yadav, I'm asking a very simple question. I'm asking a very simple question. All of us on this panel will agree, and I'm mature enough to agree, that our historical figures were not perfect figures. Gandhi himself had his flaws. So did Nehru, right? And we are willing to extend them that courtesy that, look, they operated in a certain time period, they operated in a certain milieu, in a certain social setup, and so on. Why are you not willing to give Savarkar that same leeway? That's all. It's a simple question.
Straightaway answer is this. Sir, let me tell you, sir. Let me complete.
That's true as well. Indira Gandhi had written, and it's again a recorded fact, in fact, called him one of the great sons of India. That's the word she used. Yeah.
No, the question is for me. Very clearly asking, why are we opposing Savarkar? Now the issue comes of Godse. Godse was a member of which particular group, right-wing group? You tell me. When the father of the nation is killed, you expect us to compromise on these issues? Tell me any other figure who is involved like this, who's gone to the extent of killing a father of the nation, and we have compromised. You please let me know.
No, but you are lumping both Godse and Savarkar together when the trial into Mahatma Gandhi assassination acquitted Savarkar.
1 minute. We know it very well in the past history. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel also had a complaint against Savarkar saying that this is not correct in the country because Savarkar is trying to take an advantage when the country was almost getting divided on communal lines.
Okay. This is also, there are letters of Sardar Patel.
Ambedkar supported Savarkar when he was in jail. What do you want to say? B.R. Ambedkar supported Savarkar. Was he a Hindu person?
Okay, now I'll
No, no,
ask you
B.R.
very
Well,
clearly.
B.R. Ambedkar,
okay,
there is
one
enough
second.
evidence to prove that B.R.
But-
Ambedkar supported
No, I
Savarkar
want to ask
when he
you.
was in jail in
Udayji,
Gandhi murder.
Mr.
Because
Yadav,
he
one second,
felt that
please
he was
yield. I
innocent.
have a question. I have a
that.
question. Udayji,
So
I have a
was
question.
he Hindutva person?
Is
Was
it
Ambedkar a
not
Hindutva person?
also-
Let
No,
them
why are you
reply.
not
Is
respecting
it not also one
Ambedkar's
second, Mr.
ideology
Yadav?
today?
Mr.
You're
Yadav,
going
one second.
against
Give me 10 seconds. Udayji, is it not also a recorded fact that right after Mahatma Gandhi's assassination, Sardar Patel had written multiple letters where he believed legally as well as morally. In one of the letters, he says legal position and moral position was that he believes that Savarkar was as much part of the conspiracy to assassinate Gandhi as Godse and Apte were.
No. You see, my point is, Sardar Patel can have his view. The pressure, the atmosphere was such at that time. My point is, B.R. Ambedkar, was he a member of RSS? B.R. Ambedkar sympathies were with Savarkar when Savarkar was, because Savarkar was wrongly hauled up in that case.
Okay.
So Savarkar's ideology influenced Godse. You can go on and on. But was Savarkar himself involved? No. And Digambar Badge, the approver, whose statement on the basis of which Savarkar was arrested, that I was there with Godse and Apte, and Savarkar told him, Yashwasvi Yoniya, please be victorious. The same person in 1978 telling Manohar Malgaonkar, when he wrote this book, the book's title is The Man Who Killed Godse, the man who killed Gandhi. In that, Badge told him, look here, I had done it under pressure.
Rashid,
So what more evidence do you want?
the
And he was
fact that
acquitted by the court.
the
He was
trial
acquitted
could
by
not
the court.
convict him, the fact that post the trial there are these records of one of the accused, one of the approvers saying that he did not actually physically partake in that meeting. He was on the ground floor, whereas the meeting supposedly happened on the first floor. Rashid.
Zakka, every day we get to hear something new. Today we are hearing from an author and a government functionary that Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, who is a great son of India, was under some kind of pressure to act against RSS,
this is
to act
not
against
correct.
on Gandhi assassination
No, this
thing.
is not correct.
It was just said 30 seconds ago. So what I'm saying is that, and second, more important thing, nobody is answering this. What is the relevance of all these things? Is it not because the election is taking place in Karnataka?
That aside. One second, Mr. Yadav, one second. Rashid, leave aside the timing. But isn't there a case to be made?
I think timing is very important.
Isn't there a case
Why
to
this
be
debate
made?
is not taking place
Hear me
in
out.
Tamil Nadu?
Just give me 10
Why
seconds.
it's not happening in Kerala?
Rashid, hear me out. 10 seconds. Isn't there a case to be made that when you look back at history, it can't be just a certain bent of historical narrative that's being presented? If some other people have a different view of historical figures, then that view also needs to be presented.
Absolutely. It must be. But why is it happening in Karnataka? Why it's not happening in Tamil Nadu? You respond to that. Why it's not happening in any other state? Just because there is election is there and an attempt is there to polarize. My fellow panelists don't want to respond, including the Congress representative, but that's the fact of the matter.
No. Timing
Because
aside, I'm saying on substance.
timing is most
On
important.
substance, on merit.
This time,
Isn't it a valid
Zakka,
question
1
to
minute.
ask that you can't have just a unitary perspective of historical figures, including Gandhi and Nehru?
No, let me tell you one thing, Zakka.
What-
Zakka, why this debate is not happening in Maharashtra?
No, I need some time.
Okay.
Karnataka, it's happening. If Karnataka, it's happening, may I know the co-panelist may answer this? Why this is happening when BJP had promised saying that when Siddaramaiah government was there, they had promised to ban STP and PFI. Why the government of Karnataka and government of India is taking steps on this?
That is
Let
a
them
political
ban that.
question,
Why are they
sir.
not-
That's a
they
political
they
question.
want this to
I'm
happen.
dealing with the rendition of history and the
It's the
interpretation
timing
of history.
politics. It is the timing of politics. They want Hindu polarization.
Okay.
That's the reason they are not banning this organization.
All right,
They
I'll give
want
Rakesh
election
Sinha the final
polarization.
word.
Hindu votes
I
towards
think
it.
both
That is the reason it's
Rashid
happening.
and Mr. Yadav asking about the timing. Although I think I wanted to keep this debate outside of the timing, but nonetheless, please answer on the timing and why are you not? If you feel SDPI and PFI are such vile organizations, and there is evidence of them having been involved in riots and other things, then why aren't you banning them?
You know, on the basis of the reports from the state government center acts, because law and order is the state subject, but what is more important that if you, suppose today we ban PFI, earlier we banned Islamic Swayamsevak Sangh, that was converted into PFI, and this, so all the organizations just banner changes, headline changes, letterhead changes, the ideology and content remain the same. So it is the battle of two ideas, and when in the battle of two ideas you are supporting the idea which is trying to break the India, which is trying to demean your historical legacy, then nationalism cannot flourish. I think that we are part of the liberal democracy where history should be written in a holistic manner in which all the point of view should be given space, but pre-2014 the historical facts have been selective, and the writing was based on a particular narrative to support the particular narrative. That's why I say that demeaning Savarkar, devaluing Savarkar and calling out the apology for Savarkar, then Maharshi Aurobindo shifted to Pondicherry. Then what will you call? In Kakori conspiracy case, Ram Prasad Bismil also wrote the apology. Then what will you call? Will you call him traitor? So this was a strategy of our freedom struggle, that we should not be lying in the jail. And on the basis of that, you are demeaning Savarkar. That is a most pathetic, ridiculous thing on the part of the Marxist and Nehruvian.
All right, I got to wrap up. I want to thank Professor Sinha, Uday Mahurkar, Rashid Kidwai, and of course Nagaraju Yadav for joining us. We'll see how the story plays out, both in the context of the elections as well as beyond that, because I think historical questions need to be viewed on their own merit and not just with the timing of whether it is for an election or otherwise. But let's move on to the other big story, and this is coming in from Bengal, the mega cash haul and the Bengal recruitment scam to a cross-border cattle smuggling racket. There's scandal after scandal that's come forth in the last few weeks, which are rocking the Bengal government and the TMC. Today, the daughter of the arrested TMC Birbhum District President Anubrata Mondal, she appeared before the Calcutta High Court. A petition was filed against this lady, Sukanya Mondal, accusing her of getting a teacher's post without clearing the teacher's eligibility test. While the TMC continues to maintain its distance from some of these tainted leaders, the question is, how deep does this rot run? All right, on the face-off this evening, Bharti Ghosh is BJP National Spokesperson, Manojit Mondal, TMC Spokesperson. Manojit, let me start with you. Sukanya Mondal was accused of getting a teacher's post without having cleared the teacher's eligibility test. You're a teacher yourself. Isn't this a grave travesty that if people in a country where jobs are hard to come by are being given jobs just because her father happens to be a powerful politician?
But Zakka, I think your information is not correct. That particular case came up in the High Court, and all the quote-unquote respondents, they were cleared of the court itself. They showed their certificate for TET, which is Teachers Eligibility Test, and the order. In fact, the order was recalled by the High Court itself. I mean, I really don't know.
So why was she summoned to come to court today?
So that's because of an allegation. I think now this turned out to be a completely malicious petition by a person, and he should be hauled up for giving this misinformation and misdirecting the court. And let me tell you, all the 6 respondents, including I hear that one was from BJP itself. One of the respondents, they were not accused. First of all, they were respondents. One of the respondents were also from BJP in the Birbhum district. All of them were cleared of the charges by the court itself. I really don't know whether there was an issuance of apology from the court or not. But this is bizarre.
Bharti
it's time for the
Ghosh,
court
respond to that. But by the way, today the court also did an extraordinary thing. It said camera proceedings of what was happening in court today can be, this is what the judge said, that it can be broadcast. So clearly the judge was also trying to prove a point that, look, you can't just browbeat justice just because you happen to be an influential person from the ruling party. But Bharti Ghosh, respond. Manojit Mandal saying that this was merely an allegation and the court has let her off, including the others.
No, that is not an allegation. Actually, the order of the judge has been recalled. That's a fact. But Shukanna was not presented before the court. She did not appear before the court because just before her appearance, the order was recalled. We are not here to do a post-mortem on the order or the judge appeared and later on the order was recalled. But it is a fact that this lady is a primary teacher of Kalikapur Vidyalaya, Prathamik Vidyalaya, which means she's a primary teacher, and the allegation is that she has not cleared TET. There is another allegation that the school where she is employed as a primary teacher is just 2.5 minutes from her residence, but she never goes to that school.
That's a secondary issue. But Bharti Ghosh, Bharti Ghosh, is it not your entire case against her? The allegation was that she didn't clear TET, she didn't clear the eligibility test, and she, despite that, became a teacher in a government-run school there in Birbhum. If the judge has recalled that order, then that allegation does not stand anymore, right?
No. Because we presume that the actual order was for her to appear, but that is not connected to the present case which is being heard in the High Court, Honorable High Court. So the Honorable High Court said that if the allegation comes in the form of a separate affidavit only for this issue, then we will be taking it up in a wholesome manner. You see, it has not been disposed of saying that she is innocent.
Okay.
And we are clearing her of the allegation. The matter has not been heard. It is a completely different issue. The matter has not been heard, but will be taken up for hearing in case there is a separate affidavit giving the allegation as a separate case.
Let's leave Sukanya Mandal aside for a second. The case is against her father, Anubrata Mandal. And is it not a fact that the ED in its charge sheet has shown multiple FD accounts to the tune of something like 17 crores, a little less than 17 crores, that have been frozen? One of his close associates, who I think used to be his guard or his driver, is sitting on piles and piles of money. Haven't all of these things, Manojit, been produced before the court against a senior leader of your party? Somebody who 10 years ago was, I think, selling fish in Birbhum, today is sitting on thousands of crores of property.
Zakka, I really pity my co-panelist. I won't say on the basis of presumption that she herself is guilty of the same kind of drug charges, a mountain of catches and gold found in her own plate. But I don't want to make it personal, sir. Madam, sorry. The facts remain that in this particular case, the FDs, even I know, FDs are directly linked to the income tax department. All the interest comes to the income tax, and they are white money. What were the income tax doing? If someone is making business, he is giving income tax. The FDs are made. These are pure white money. He can only show that they are business money. I mean, the fact remains that why are you in BJP after this person?
No, Manojit, just one second. There's a small correction. Small correction. That just because it's an FD and it's taxed, or interest on it is from that income is taxed, does not necessarily make the source of that income legitimate. Or when you say it becomes white money, it could have been that money could have been obtained through illegitimate means and then put in an FD. That's entirely possible.
Yes. If that can be entirely possible, that may not be entirely possible. So then again, the question of presumption comes. So on the basis of presumption, you are not just putting him in jail, but maligning the reputation of the family, including this girl. He has got nothing to do with this. And I repeat, now they are prevaricating. This case came up in the High Court. In fact, there should be an issuance of apology from the petitioner for taking her to the court. And let me tell you, this particular girl is an extremely popular teacher. Even the case that she is talking about will not stand the scrutiny of law. I'm quite clear, but again, I repeat, this is political vendetta. You cannot really challenge this person in that particular
Bharti
area.
Ghosh, you've unnecessarily brought in the family members of politicians. This is nothing but political vendetta. That's the charge from the TMC.
You see, the father and the daughter have got assets worth several hundreds of crores. Only 16.97 crores of fixed deposit has been recovered is not correct. But the CBI has found joint properties worth several hundreds of crores in Goishpur, Kalikapur area. I'll tell you, between 2016 and 2022, there were 21 plots of land which were purchased by the father and the daughter, joint properties, and also the hawk industry belonging to Enamul Hawk, the renowned reputed cattle smuggler. Hawk Industries Private Limited is a shell company in which Bhuban Bhaskar is the son of Satish, the BSF commandant. He has been employed as a chartered accountant at a salary of 40,000 by Anubrata Mondal in order to channelize the cattle smuggling money from the cattle smuggling to these shell companies.
But ma'am, can I ask a question? If all of this money was allegedly made through cattle smuggling, cattle that was smuggled illegally into Bangladesh, how come no one knew about this? How come certainly the BSF, which mans the international border between Bangladesh and India, how come they did not have a clue about it?
No, definitely, this is a larger system of corruption which the ED and the CBI are trying to unearth. And for that only Satish Kumar, the BSF commander, has been arrested. But it does not make sense if you say that all this happened under the very nose of the chief minister and she was unaware. She was unaware that more than 2,100 Australian cows were smuggled into Bangladesh. She was not aware.
Manojit, I'll give you the final word, final minute. How long can the Chief Minister say? Partho Chatterjee was like her right hand, and today your party has distanced yourself from him. Anubrata Mondal also, a key person in Birbhum. How long can the leadership of your party say, we didn't have a clue about what was going on?
Again, in the eyes of law, if Mr. Mondal is guilty, the madam who is sitting on that side is also guilty of everything. Well, we are not saying that. Crores of jewelry found in her, investigated by the CID, will not hold her guilty as of now. We believe in the process of law. That's what democracy is all about. If Mr. Anubrata Mondal is guilty, the court will punish. But again, you have pointed the right question. What about BSF? What about other political leaders? I tell you, we are getting to hear that one very son of a big minister in the central government, he is, bringing the cows from the North Indian region.
So go ahead. That? I mean, why you have the police under you? Go ahead and file a case against him.
It is the central government. You mean the BJP? They are systematically targeting only TMCs and Mamata Banerjee, and no one else, I tell you.
All right.
The opposition.
I got to wrap up. I want to thank Manojit Mondal, Bharti Ghosh for joining us. We'll see how this story plays out, both for Anubrata Mondal and, of course, for Partho Chatterjee. I believe Partho Chatterjee will be produced in court later this week. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, an unmanned boat loaded up with arms washed ashore in Maharashtra off the coast, and it triggered a big security scare. We'll have details of that story and a lot more right on the other side.